What's up, you guys? My name is McGill, giving your daily dose of radiation. In today's video, we are covering how my experience applying to the program was and how to increase your chances of getting into the Xray Tech program. So to give you context, I am a night shift Xray Tech, been doing it for 4 years. I was fortunate enough to get into the program on my first try. I've had many partners ahead of me who had to go in as alternatives, apply second time, apply third time. So my best advice is they give you a little sheet of paper, or you can go up to the department, or you can go up to the school, whoever runs the department, and they should usually have a little breakdown of what they are looking at for you to get into the program. And there should be like a little check boxes. It should be like you have to take all these prerequisites, essay, a grade, and then I think there's like certain places have clinical experience, like you go and shadow Xray techs. My best advice, do everything you can, go above and beyond and get all the checks off. Those will automatically put you at the highest. Obviously you want the highest grades possible in every single class. Like you should, I went into applying to the Xray Tech program and I had a 3.5 GPA. I pretty much had all A's in all my classes, and I had, I think, a few, like 1 to 2, no, only 1 B and 1 C going into the actual like core curricular classes that they want for them. And then I had a few extra classes that also counted towards it, but it was like less points. So I essentially almost had a basic associate's degree before applying to the actual program. And then the essay, we had an essay, and most of the time, most of the essays, it's gonna sound kind of bad, but they just want someone who genuinely cares about, like, a genuine story of why this is important, besides like money or like others, like a genuine like thing that you care about it. Obviously everyone knows like why you're going. For majority of us, like, we know why, but you can't say that, obviously. And then I did all that, and then you gotta make sure that like you turn in everything ahead of time, make sure all your paperwork is good. There's certain stuff that it just takes a long time. Some places, like if you're applying to multiple places, like if you're applying to both your college and other colleges, make sure that you give enough time, like for transcripts, for like if you're sending stuff, especially in mail, like do everything ahead of time, because you never know what could happen. And like there's certain places that will have a higher acceptance rate, or higher, like they'll accept more people. So if you're fortunate enough to have multiple places to dabble in, it increases your chances, because sometimes you're not going to get in. Sometimes life, like, that's all, like you just have this couple of years to actually do it. Because I don't know what I would have done if I didn't get in like the first 2 times. Obviously I got in the first time, I was very fortunate enough, but like if you stacked up all your credentials, you stacked up all the classes, like you have everything maxed out, and then you apply, and then I guess like you're gonna be competing with everyone else who's gonna be, it almost comes down to like a very niche set of like characteristics, because everyone's kind of maxing out all of their opportunities, and it comes down to like they thinning out between who has like not even the highest grades. Because like I went in competing against other people. Once I got into the program, I asked a few questions just to have data. And there were some people who I got in that I had a higher GPA or a lower GPA. And it all just came down to like personality, how your interview went, how like we sat down with our teacher one day, and they kind of like towards the end of the program, and they kind of explained us, or we got to see for the upcoming students how their process was to accepting people, and it was quite interesting. I'll probably make another video on it just to go in depth. Obviously, depending on who's running the department, who's like, there's so many variables that can change what they're looking for. I mean, obviously, certain people will be more biased against like your personality, appearance of like, if you go into that like actual interview and you look like you don't care, but like you're really smart, they're like, well, do we need, like, they'll think ahead, like, do we need more people like this in the medical field? Like, there's so many things that they look for that doesn't even involve the actual core curriculum of the process of like, if you applying. It's like other stuff of how you carry yourself, how you interact, how, like, there's so many variables. And for some people, some of the classes you take, the instructors are part of the program. So like, even before you even think of even applying to the program, you're already being watched by some of these core classes by actual instructors of the program. So imagine like you showed up even before thinking to even apply, and they're like, oh, I saw this guy, he was in my, let's say, one of my MP classes, or my one of whatever class it was, and like, he was always troublemaker, he was always late. Like, there's so many stuff that like you don't even think about some of the times that could also affect even outside, because like, it's not even just the teachers that partake in the actual accepting of the program. They also involve people in the hospitals, like me, who's an Xray tech, and other like upper management people, and they kind of see what's, so like, imagine you went in as even as a patient and you were kind of being rude, and you were a type of way at their hospital, and then they saw you during the process. And trust me, when you're in the actual field and someone does something, and it's not even the nice things they do, it's like everything that makes you, like, that irritates you or makes your job more harder as a tech, you can quickly pick them up. Like there's stuff that's happened my first year of work that if those certain people would come in, I can quickly pick them out and be like, yeah, this is gonna be a hard X-ray, or this is like, I'm not gonna do it. Like there's certain stuff that you won't even think about, but it could also apply to the actual program. What else? Certain places, the application boarding process, they'll have like a fall and winter. Some places only do it once a year. My program only did it once a year, so it was even more harder to get into. And the sad part is, you can have all your credentials, you can have everything, but if you don't have like the means of, because it costs money obviously to get into these programs. Like, once you're like, some of the hard questions, like if you're paying out of pocket, financial aid, like they look into several things, because they're like, I remember going into the program interview and they were like straight up honest, like, hey, do you have a car? Is it reliable? The program costs X amount of money. Are you going to be able to afford it? And there's so many variables that they want the people who get in have the highest chance of actually completing the program and actually being successful, because there's been many times where our teachers would have told us someone would get into the program and then they would start and then something would happen, or they just said they were able to do all these things, and then once they were in, they didn't pass because of not even the actual education aspect, but all the other stuff that goes. So it gets kind of complicated, but as long as like you're on top of your game and you're doing what I told you, some of those things, that could help tremendously help you get into the program. Obviously, if you're like, okay, Miguel, I didn't get into the Xray program, between us and nursing, it's probably the closest, maybe even PT, I'm not sure, because my lady's a nurse, so I kind of touched on her. some of the core classes you take prior to getting in are kind of the same. Like, I think the only difference between me and my wife, who's a nurse, her program was nutrition and then microbiology, and there might have been another patient care class. That was the only difference that would distinguish us from applying for their program. Obviously, if you go to nursing, you probably want like some CNA and some other stuff, other things that kind of would tweak to be as an alternate version. Me personally, being a tech now and seeing what the nurses do, I probably couldn't do it. Seeing what my lady does every day, I couldn't do it. But if you're in one of those positions where you're trying to throw the net and see whichever program will get you, that is one choice you can do. And yes, been your boy Miguel. See you on the next one.